It's November 22nd, 2014, and I also remember this song, Flare. Similar. So, I wrote so many songs. I am not kidding. I spent literally over 3 hours or more a day writing and making up songs about everything under the sun for years. And if I didn't do that, I was actually being tortured by the United States government. And the only time they would stop torturing me is if I sang something, and then they would steal it, market it to someone else, and made a lot of money off of it. So doing that for around 13 years or so, on a constant basis, for that many hours, sometimes all day. 3 hours was actually probably, when I was younger, occasionally a lower amount of time. Sometimes I would spend 6 hours working on a series of songs. I mean, it was pretty much everything I did. And I did try to do other things, but I was blocked from doing anything else. And so as a result, I have a huge cache of songs stored in my memory. And I remember all of them, or most of them, because I practiced them so much. And when put to music, I just didn't forget things very well. So I am going to try to find something else. Okay, I have had this book before because I had to use it for a class a while ago, but I don't think I ever used it for a song word idea, and it doesn't really matter, but let's see what this is. You see first. Let's see. Well, it says so excitedly, and then my finger is right on Gibraltar. I actually forgot what Gibraltar is. might want to look that one up. It's someplace in the Bible, I think. Said all aboard have said the safest place in any battleship or cruiser or destroyer is behind a Chicago piano. I believe them. Empty brass cordite cases are tumbling out of the gun's scuttle-like exit so fast and so excitedly. It reminds me of the forbidden fruit machine in Gibraltar, on which I once played. So, it's taken from page 270 in this book, and let's go with excited. So that is close enough to what I was sort of thinking up on. And so when thinking of like how to brainstorm a song, you just have a word thrown at you, which really again is not how I based most of my songwriting. But when something like that happens, then I begin to think or try to feel for an emotion that I might have, or look around the room at different objects and ideas, or think, in my imagination, what kinds of things come to mind, and how can I make something interesting. I don't typically think of my audience when I am first creating a song, although occasionally I will specifically set out and think about, I want to write a fast song now, or I want to write a club song now. I want to write or make up something that is this style or that style, and I want to write a song that incorporates use of a lot of words about clothing. So there are definitely times when I planned ahead of time exactly what kind of song I wanted to create, and then I created it. So it wasn't always just some kind of random fluke thing. I really did think about many times what kind of a song I was trying to put together. But other times I would just let ideas come to my mind. And either way, it's just a good way to practice. So, and I think with a word like excited, I'm sure I could make a really fast song. But I don't feel extremely peppy. Terrible word, peppy. But I almost went to exaggerate it the other direction. Like, I'm so excited. It's almost sarcasm. But I think what I'm going to do is grab a cup of something to drink. And I'm not drinking alcohol, by the way, but something for my voice. And I'm going to leave this running because this is something that I might do now, not while I was a kid maybe, although I got water all the time. And then I will think about it and then return. And when did I write? When I wrote my Fleur song, I was very young. I was a kid. I would say somewhere around age 10 or something like that. I have to think about it, but it came to mind one time. And I didn't know that much French, but I knew that possibly I got the idea of using a word by having a French book because I tried to teach myself French at one time. And I did okay with the book, but I didn't have any audio to go with it, so I had no way to practice. And that was in Moses Lake, Washington. So then a movie came out, which I later found when I was older. And I got into foreign films for a while, and I saw that in the French section there was this film called Fleur de Manon, or I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that in French, but it was like flower of the spring or flower of the bread or something. And I thought, this is really strange because it reminded me of my song. And at the time when I was really young, my hair was long and left it down all the time, I thought the woman on there sort of looked like me a little bit, but I didn't see that movie to get the idea of a song. And often I hardly ever wrote songs while I was sitting. I did sometimes, but usually I was standing. And I might try that right now because could be a good idea. Let's see. And this is probably going to end up being 2 parts, but you'll see the process of what I'm doing to to create my own creative environment, which is what often a lot of artists will do. You know, if you don't feel instantly inspired by something, then sometimes you create your own circumstances or a state of being or how you want to feel in preparation for trying to get this idea out. So I've had something hot to drink, and I'm thinking about standing up, and that might activate me a little bit. And you know, you have to try things like that, because you can't just sit around and expect to have one form of creative brainstorming to work. You know, you try lots of different ways to generate sometimes ideas. Just like going to a game. If you go to a sports game, most athletes aren't just going to practice the exact same exercise the same way all the time. They incorporate several different things so that they exercise many parts of their body and their brain to prepare for a game, and including strategy. I see people who are getting ready to run, you know, doing all kinds of workout preps, you know, high knees, kicking the back of their bottom with their with the heels of their shoes, you know, doing really fast running, doing a few sprints, slowing it down. You know, it's just, that's just sometimes your I think people need to mix it up. So it is right now. I'll show you the time, because I am going to take a quick break. I'll be right back, because I'm going to have to set this up so I can do this standing. And right now it's 6:34 according to that clock.